that the DSS participated actively in that proceedings. They filed their processes. Judgment was delivered against them. They have not appealed against that judgment up to today. And today, they are acting against the very judgment that was delivered by a court of competent jurisdiction. This is not a banana republic. This is a country that is governed by rule of law. And that is the reason we are here to announce to the whole world what is about to happen or what is already happening, because we are lawyers in defense of democracy. It is now more worrisome that hours before the callous, draconian, Gestapo illegal, unlawful, and unconstitutional arrest and detention of Godwin Emefieles by the DSS, one Bayo Ononuga, one of the spokespersons of the APC presidential campaign and a very close ally of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had allegedly tweeted on his Twitter handle that Emefieles was arrested. This information by Bayo Ononuga was countered by people who knew at the time he made the Twitter post that Emefieles was not arrested. But they also countered in the same Twitter post that there is a court judgment stopping Emefieles' arrest, but Bayo Ononuga refused and did not delete his tweet because already he knew that the president must have directed the DSS to arrest Emefieles upon announcing his suspension. This cannot happen under a country where the rule of law governs, under a country where democracy reigns supreme, under a country that is operating constitutional democracy. Constitutional democracy institutions should be strong, the rule of law is strong, and every arm of government must act within the tenets of the provisions of the law. And that is why lawyers in defense of democracy, we have deemed it fit to quickly alert the entire world that democracy and rule of law is about to go into oblivion under the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration in Nigeria. However, and sadly too, at about 2 a.m. this morning, today, at about 2 a.m., hooded men of the State Security Service stormed the Lagos residence of Emefieles, breaking doors. For a man that served the country at the highest level as the governor of Central Bank, you broke into his house as if he was a common criminal that is resisting arrest. Even though Emefieles, irrespective of the court order by the Honorable FCT High Court that restrained the DSS from arresting him, he is still not resisting arrest. Why would the DSS break into his house in the wee hours of the day by 2 a.m. to effect unlawful arrest? This must be condemned by all lovers of democracy and rule of law, and that's what we are here to do. We must condemn it. It is condemnable. It is illegal. It is unconditional. It is a dramatic return of dictatorship. The dark days of Abacha era, when the incumbent president himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, claimed to have run out of the country on self-exile because of flagrant breach of rule of law. And now, under his own supervision, he has directed the DSS to arrest a governor of the central bank in the wee hours of the day by 2 a.m. as if he were a common criminal. This must be condemned, particularly of a man who claimed to be a true Democrat, Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself, who claimed to have been a victim of dictatorship of the Abacha era. Why would you now return the ugly stories of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? This is the honest question we are asking you. Have you come as a Democrat? Are you governing us as a Democrat? Or you have come under the guise of a Democrat to return the dark days of Abacha era by directing the DSS to go and arrest the governor of a central bank in the wee hours of the day by 2 a.m. in the night, just merely 2 or 3 hours after you have announced his suspension? This must be condemned, and under the rule of law, under a country where the rule of law operates, we speak out. We have the constitutional right to speak. We have the constitutional right to condemn illegalities, and we also have the constitutional right to go to court to challenge illegalities. Despite the fact that Court of Competent Jurisdiction had flushed the allegation of Emefieles being a terrorist, the SSS disregarded that judgment and stormed Emefieles' home and forced him under aggression to their custody. This is condemnable act, and we denounce and condemn it in the most vehement manner. When we are not ordinarily politically inclined in our assessment of issues, it must be stated at this point that Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu has shown clear signs of aversion of certain parts of the country. He has also shown that he does not understand that the fact that he did not secure 10% of votes in that section of the country does not mean that he will not treat them, but that does not mean that he will treat them with hatred or aggression, as it was the case of his predecessor. There are no alternatives to this, as that is a sacred duty imposed on him to do. He must treat all Nigerians equally. Despite those that voted for you or those that gave you majority vote, the issue of being a president is being a president of Nigeria, a president of the whole nation. You sworn to the Constitution to uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria. So it does not matter what happened during the election and the electioneering processes. Nigerians have the right to support any candidate of their choice. Nigerians have the right to vote for any party of their choice. But once election and the electioneering are concluded and a winner emerged, even though his victory is being challenged in court, we all know what transpired, how the BVA, how the results were not uploaded in BVAS as expressly provided in the Electoral Act, which have been legitimately challenged in court. The fact remains that if you had either through the back door or through the front door been declared as the president of Nigeria and you have been sworn in as the president of Nigeria, you must treat all Nigerians, all citizens of Nigerians, all sections of the country equally. He wants to inherit the 9%, 95%, or 90 over 95%, 10% of theory of his predecessor, Muhammadu Buhari, against the people of the Southeast. The fact remains that Nigerians from wherever state they come, from whichever region they come, have the constitutional right to support any candidate of their choice, to vote any party of their choice, but whoever that eventually is declared as the president of Nigeria, either through the backyard or through the front yard, and the person has taken oath of office with the Constitution of Nigeria to uphold the Constitution of Nigeria, has the constitutional duty to treat Nigerians equally, despite those that voted you and those that didn't vote you. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is showing clear sign that he has come out to be vindictive against people from the Southeast or all Igbo-speaking ethnic nationalities in Nigeria.